On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk, Jesus, I think that you start to lean into the relationship to being dope, and every year just becomes better. So once you get over all of the little issues and all the little problems and trying to figure out the nuances and learning the person and going through the ups and downs, because you got to see people at their best, you got to see people at their worst, and I don't think that you can see that when you just casually dating or you just in a relationship. I think that you got to live with that person. You got to see them, go through something. You got to see what happens and how they move and how they adjust and how they become a woman or a man right before your very eyes. So I think that long term should be defined as a decade or more married, because then you get to see every aspect of a person, and then and only then, when you've overcome all that stuff and you still decide that you want to be married, then that's what I consider long term. Everything else from before that is temporary, in my opinion.
Our first topic of the night is how likely is it for long-term relationships to end in marriage? I know Kay knew about this already because I gave a little preview earlier, but we often have people that are in these long-term relationships. So before we get started, what's considered a long time for being in a relationship? And I'll go ahead and start with Q. I'll go ahead and try to get you in a little bit early. That way,
Will I dip out?
yeah. Well, I don't know if you're gonna dip out or not. Go ahead.
What was the question? Was what's considered a long-term relationship?
Yeah, yeah, like a long time relationship.
Honestly, I think it depends on the age you are. The older you get, like the older you get, the time decreases, right? I think a long-term relationship, anything over 2 years, that's considered long-term. To me, yeah.
All right, six. What about you? What's considered a long time for being in a relationship?
I'm like a long time in general or a long time in 2022.
Let's do both.
Because
You
there's a
know,
long time in a healthy way, and then there's a long time for how low the standard is present day. So I feel like present to me, a long time is 5 years or more, but present day in 2022, with how quickly people just kind of say F each other and move forward, I would say a long time is a year or more.
okay, that's interesting. All right, we're starting to do a little popcorn. Go ahead and fill in if you guys want to. Yeah, eager to answer, which I know a lot of you guys are. What's a long time? Let's just try to see if we can get some like perspectives for the people out there that's watching, because they may not, they may be in a relationship for 10 years. They might even think that's a long time.
I agree with what Q said about how the time decreases the older you get. I would say anything over 2 years is like a long-term relationship. Is that what I think somebody else said that too? But yeah, I would say 2 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll back it. Oh, go ahead, Rilla. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. I agree. I think anything 2 years plus is a long term. However, I do think within a year, especially depending on your age, is when you should be thinking about or engagement should be involved. But long term is 2, 3, 4. Then it's like, okay, I'm thinking like terms like a loan or something. It's like you have a 24 month, a 36 month. So those are terms. So we're looking like that 24 months, that's 2 years. So that's a long term. But definitely, as far as with marriage and marriage minded people, engagement talk should be definitely within that year.
Okay. Go ahead, really.
Yeah, Six. Shout out to you for bullying Anton and taking over his stream when he pulled up. I thought that was dope. And I wanted to ask you, Six, with your response, do you feel like that's on the national, or do you feel like that's specific to Atlanta? Though the time frame that you gave us.
It could be specific to Atlanta because that's how my reality is shaped. That's what I see every day. So, I don't see other places every day. So I guess, yeah, that is for my perception here in Atlanta. People serial date here. So here, people probably date maybe 3 months and 3 months max, and then they on to the next. So here, if you're together for a year, it's like it's considered long term here in Atlanta. So I do think, yeah, it's based upon my reality, which is shaped by my location, which is where I am, which is Atlanta. So yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I agree. And for me, I agree with the rest of the ladies. I think anything over 2 years will be considered long term for the most part.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and add something to it though. I think that I'm with the Atlanta people too. It's hookup season down there. So if you like maybe 28 and under, 2 months is a long-term relationship. And then
What?
Logic, where you from? You sound more country than me. Where you from?
I'm from Atlanta.
Okay.
Logic, don't start that tonight, okay?
No, hey, Six, he from Adamsville. He from Adamsville.
Look,
Oh,
this
he's
is
from Atlanta.
show. I swear, look, man, I'm finna go. Look, Kay, can I say something now, Kay? Kayla, I'm sorry, baby. I get y'all K's mixed up. Now, but the serious note, what I'm trying to explain is that, and I think it's deeper than just Atlanta. I think it's citywide. That when you're dealing with relationships, if you under a certain age, you know what I'm saying, you're 3 months would be a goal. 3 months would be they'll consider that long term. And then once you get older, then you'll start looking for long term. Long term become long term engagements, marriage, all that. But nowadays, these kids like pulling like 2 months to 3 months. I give them some leeway.
That's quite interesting. What you think about it, Anton?
10 years or more, easy. 10 years or
10
more.
years. 10
10.
years is a okay.
At least 10. You got to have a decade in the game. Because first and foremost, like, you know me, man, I think boyfriend and girlfriend and shortly into college. Because ain't nobody got time to play games no more. After that, after you get into college, time becomes money. And you don't have money to just be wasting hanging around people. Real talk. And then after that, again, you already know that I don't believe in relationships. Like, I believe either you're going to get married or you just a placeholder for somebody that's actually going, you know what I'm saying, utilize that time more effectively with the person that they're rocking with. I don't believe in wasting time and playing games. I believe in being very, very intentional. So for me, I don't think you really got no skin in the game until you get 10 years married. And specifically, when you're talking about being married, you got the honeymoon phase. You got the baby phase. You have the opportunity to start getting people out of your business and you starting to figure that out. So once you get past that phase, once you get past all of the little phases, I think that you start to lean into the relationship to being dope, and every year just becomes better. So once you get over all of the little issues and all the little problems and trying to figure out the nuances and learning the person and, going through the ups and downs, because you got to see people at their best, you got to see people at their worst. And I don't think that you can see that when you just casually dating or you just in a relationship. I think that you got to live with that person. You got to see them, go through something. You got to see what happens and how they move and how they adjust and, how they become a woman or a man right before your very eyes. So I think that long term should be defined as a decade or more married, because then you get to see every aspect of a person. And then, and only then, when you've overcome all that stuff and you still decide that you want to be married, then that's what I consider long term. Everything else from before that is temporary, in my opinion.